Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of my Coasters of series. Today we're taking a trip to Santa Claus, Indiana for Holiday World. This park is home to a trio of great wooden coasters, one really strong steel coaster in their lineup, and a kiddie coaster thrown into the mix. So I'll be ranking and reviewing all of these, so let's go ahead and get to it. Coming in at number 5 is of course the park's kiddie coaster named the Howler. This coaster is actually themed after the park's mascot, the Holly Dog. This is featured in the kids section, Holly Dog's Fun Town in the park, and just a simple single helix family coaster by Zamperla. There's a bunch of these out there. I was actually able to find this footage from my friend of me and the coaster, second to back in the white t-shirt there. So I, got on this coaster for the credit. Been on other coasters like this. There's nothing that special about them, but they are pretty painful. Jumping into the POV here, we are going to be taking up the lift hill to a max height of 13 feet. Coming down this spiral here and up into this single helix. Really nothing special about this. You do get to go around twice. Adults are obviously allowed, so just ride it for the credit. And move on to number 4, which is the Raven, the park's oldest coaster. Opened back in 1995, so it's not too old. Built by Custom Coasters International. Has a very nice setting back in the woods. You really can't see any of this from the park. There is actually a little park across the road that you can get some nice views from it, like a public park. But from inside Holiday World, you really can't see this coaster at all. Hopping into the POV here, taking a little turn out of the station. Really like the atmosphere of this park. It's very clean, very well maintained. It has like that family run feel to it. It is really nice, and this collection of coasters is a reason to go alone. Park also includes free soft drinks. There's no catch to that. They're absolutely free. Coming up to the top of the 80-foot lift hill here, you get a nice view of the parking lot and the front of the park here, and come down the first drop of 85 feet directly into a tunnel. Like I said, you're going straight into the woods here. Coming up here, you do a nice little turnaround across the water. Really scenic, picturesque view if you could see it from the park. This coaster only reaches a top speed of 48 miles an hour, but it definitely feels faster going through this whippy layout through the woods. You're keeping very low to the ground through this section with these fast, tight turns. Definitely feels way more, thrilling than 48 miles an hour, especially blowing by all these trees. The only downside to this coaster is it is a short ride, but overall a good family coaster. Up next, we have the other Custom Coasters International coaster, the Legend. This roller coaster opened back in 2000 and was the park's second big coaster to open. The layout kind of expands through the whole park and goes through the water park, so you'll see that in the POV. We're kind of dipping under some of the slides. It's really fun, some of the interaction that it gets through the park. This coaster also has some really interesting elements, some good helixes like lateral forces, some airtime too, and goes through a lot of tunnels. So coming up the lift hill here, we're going to reach a top height of only 99 feet, but this first drop is actually 113 feet, reaching speeds of 59 miles an hour. Like I said, really nice views from the top here. This POV was right after they did some reprofiling, so that tunnel was not finished yet. But coming through here, going through the water park, like you can see some slides above you, below you here, doing a little turnaround here, back under some water slides. Really interesting how it interacts with the water park here. Some good airtime on these hills here. And coming down here, going through yet again another tunnel. Coming up over here is some more airtime hills, some bank turns, and then coming into this double helix here, going through the tunnel, some really good lateral forces. Is a really fun ride and a decent length in ride time. It's almost 2 minutes. So the end of the track here, they actually did some reprofiling in 2016. They added this sort of double down here. There's this new tunnel under the one log flume ride, and then these turns around the station too are also reprofiled just to make it a little more comfortable and hold up better. And we're hitting the brake run now. I was able to find some footage of me on this ride as well. My face is literally what just happened. This is such a good coaster and actually is my number 2 wooden coaster right now. Coming in at number 2 is the park's newest addition for 2015. This is Thunderbird. This is the world's only launched wing coaster built by Bolliger and Mabillard. Definitely one of my favorites. I really struggled ranking this a little lower than Voyage because it is such a good ride, but I will have to give our number 1 spot all the praise that it deserves. Thunderbird just has such a really nice setting. Again, back in the woods, this whole park is really picturesque, kind of just takes advantage of this forest, and has some really fun, interesting elements that we'll go through in the POV in a second here. It's such a great addition to the park. They really needed a standout steel coaster with all of their wooden coasters, and they got it in 2015. Coming into the POV, there is a nice little pre-show before the launch, kind of to imitate like a thunderstorm. There's some flashing lights, some fog. You sit here for a second, and then we're going to launch out of the station, hitting a max speed of 60 miles an hour over this first Immelman of 140 feet. Coming down here, we go directly into a 125-foot loop. And coming over the Voyage here, we're coming into some overbank turns. These elements are really fun, really, add to sort of the wing coaster experience. Coming through a 0G roll here, down a little turn, little pop of airtime here, and through this little barn, some really good head chopper moments, and through a inline twist, also with some good head chopper elements. A short ride, but a really fun, ride packed full of really good elements. This is actually my favorite wing coaster, ranking just a little higher than Gatekeeper at Cedar Point. Really fun ride, definitely a strong supporting coaster to our number 1 spot. And if you've heard anything about Holiday World before this video, you've heard of the Voyage. This is what this park is known for. This coaster is also my personal number 1 top wooden roller coaster right now. It's built in 2006 by the Gravity Group. Very well-known coaster in the roller coaster community. It's also the 2nd longest wooden coaster in the world, coming in at a track length of about 6,400 feet. So coming into the POV here, just a little transfer track section we're going through here, a little dip down onto this massive lift hill here. Definitely get some good views of Thunderbird in the background here, so we're going to speed up through the lift hill here. Cresting over the lift, we are going to reach a top height of 159 feet and first drop of 154 feet. Coming through here, we are reaching a top speed of 67 miles an hour. This honestly feels like a B&M hypercoaster, but it's a wooden coaster. Definitely got some good floater moments over these hills here, dipping through a underground tunnel, pops of airtime throughout this ride, another floater hill here, into another tunnel, and then we are completely back in the woods. You cannot see this part of the park at all from any roads, any place inside the park. We are so far away from where you started on this coaster because it is just so long. Half of this ride, takes place back in the woods where you can't even see. So coming through those turns here, we are going to pop up into a brake run, and you'll notice how slow we're seemingly going here because of the terrain difference of this coaster. We're coming through a triple down here, and coming out of this tunnel going so fast is really disorienting. because you feel like you've almost like hit the final brake run, slowed down, and this second half of the ride you still have so much momentum because Out in the Woods was sort of up on a hill. So we're coming back down with all that speed, going through these whippy turns, passing through here, coming sort of under the station here, twisting around, going through another tunnel. This ride is just full of crazy moments, coming back through this turnaround and finally into the brake run. This is such a long ride, such a pack-full ride. The only moment of, minute you get to breathe is on that brake run there. It definitely deserves all the praise that it gets. One of the best wooden roller coasters in the world. And that wraps up the Coasters of Holiday World. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Definitely check out the other videos in this series. Right now I did videos on Kennywood and Knoebels, so definitely check those out. There will be links at the end of this video and in the description. Next video I'm planning on doing is Coasters of Dorney Park in Allentown, Pennsylvania. So tune back next week for that, and I will see you guys in the next one.